Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting of December 12th, 2017 at 5:30. I will call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Please join me in a moment of silence. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business, approval of minutes from November 14th, 2017 of the CRA meeting.
I'd move to approve the minutes from November 14, 2017.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, like sign. Passes unanimously. Special recognitions and presentations, we have none. Old business, we have none. New business, Mr. City.
Yes, sir. This item is from Community Development. It's agenda item 8A. Based on recent issues regarding the use of tax increment funds raised by members of the Brevard County Commission and the Florida State Legislature, staff is recommending the CRA adopt a policy regarding the expenditure of Brevard County's tax increment payment. Staff is recommending that the use of this annual tax increment funds received from Brevard County be prioritized to the payment of the CRA's debt service and capital improvement projects, CIP.
Any comments from number 7, Mr. Leedy?
The word prioritized, does that mean exclusively?
Yes, sir.
So in the future, we can only use the tax increment for that purpose only?
The Brevard County tax increment, what we found is with other boards that the city deals with, specifically the North Brevard Economic Development Zone, we do segregate those funds, and the zone does, the board comes before City Council to say how that money is being spent. So that's the intent of this proposal, and we are recommending that these the first increments be provided towards debt service and capital improvements. Nothing to say that CRA can direct that money to go elsewhere. But we do want to segregate the funds between the city's increment and the county's increment so we can see where the money is being spent.
So if the CRA, it's not exclusive then, it's because the CRA could change.
Yes, sir. This board could recommend that the county increment be spent elsewhere.
Elsewhere. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Oh, yes, ma'am. 2. Member Anderson.
Thank you. Percentage-wise, how much is that of our annual income?
It's just to look at the amounts. The county's portion is $301,000, and the city's portion is $566,000.
Okay, so a little more than half.
That's
Okay.
for this fiscal year.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution, resolution of the City of Titusville Community Redevelopment Agency providing for a policy on the expenditure of Brevard County annual tax increment funding.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is this a resolution?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's a
It is?
resolution.
Okay. Because it's a resolution, we'll do a roll call.
Member Leedy? Yes. Member Diesel?
Yes.
Member Nelson?
Yes?
Chairman Johnson?
Yes? Twice?
Member Stokel?
Yes.
And Member Anderson?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Next item is
award of contract, CRA landscaping and state roadways.
Yes, sir. This is category item 8B. As the current contract for these services is ended or coming to an end, the city has solicited bids for a new contract under bid number 18 Bravo 001 on October 20th, 2017. 7 firms obtained bid documents out of the 135 bids notified. 2 firms submitted proposals which were opened on September 18, 2017. The following tabulations: JB Lawn Control Incorporated at $85,400.24, and Premier Lawn Maintenance Service of $90,500. It is recommended that the CRA Board recommend to City Council to approve the award of the contract with an initial term of 1 year and 4 one-year options to JB Lawn Control Incorporated of Titusville, Florida, to perform mowing, landscaping, maintenance services within the CRA and state roadways in the amount of $85,400.24 per year. Authorize the city manager to execute the contract.
Member Anderson.
Who does US 1 downtown?
They do.
JB does?
Yeah, this contract is for US 1 downtown as well as the other state roads.
US 1 to Gray Street?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Well, let me just hear from Member Leedy, and then we'll have the cards. Okay. Clerk, would you read the cards, please?
Debbie Schuler.
Good evening, Debbie Schuler, 422 Julia Street. Hello. Debbie Schuler, 422 Julia Street, downtown Titusville. Live and work down here. I know we discussed this a month or so ago, and we talked about, I believe you all talked about having a maintenance person downtown. And I'm sure you've all looked at the cost of city doing it, and I'm sure you've weighed all that out. And of course, you've heard from us before, or me before anyway, on how terrible our downtown looks with our dead trees and our exposed pipes and, runoff and water. The rain just washes everything away. So I hope you will consider looking at this contract carefully and maybe there is very stringent restrictions in here. I don't know. But it really hasn't been nice since the very beginning. So maybe we can get rid of the dead stuff and put maybe some wording in the contract. I don't know. But please consider what we got and what we've had, and we deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. You will look into that, please? Just
Yeah,
go through and let's
the
see
dead
if we
trees,
can-
dead plants are not related to the maintenance contract.
I'm sorry, say again?
The dead trees or dead plants are not related to the maintenance contract. The contractor is only liable for those items he causes to die. The trees that died downtown, we have still have hurricane damaged trees that we removed, and we just replaced $90,000 worth of plants this year from South Street through the downtown core. So we certainly can look at doing more of that. I don't know what's left to be replanted from the original plan. We'd have to look at that. We didn't do South Street to Grace. There'd probably be another $100,000 investment there. But we certainly can, if that's the board's direction, we can look at that. Those would be bid items to another contractor. Those aren't related to, this is mowing the grass, upkeep of what we have existing. We don't hold them liable for trees that died due to nature.
Well, it sounds like you have done a lot, and some of it was storm damage. But even so, why don't you take a look through and see if there's anything more that needs to be done or anything that can be done.
Yeah.
Couldn't hurt.
Yeah, like I said, we can certainly look and come back as a budget item for next year or if we want to amend this year at some point to plant further down. We stopped at South Street purposely. That's kind of the end of the fully developed area. but we certainly can relook at it. I'll have our staff check back through what needs to be replaced.
Okay, thank you. We need to vote on that?
May I ask one question?
Sure. Oh, there's several lights lit now.
Are we?
Yes, go ahead.
Do I have the floor?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are we the ground cover, the juniper and all of that stuff, it was a great place for people to park their chairs for the parade. It was trampled on a lot. Are we locked into that? I mean, do we have to have that there, or could we do something like, decorative brick in there that did not require to be watered or mowed or trimmed or any of that stuff? I'm wondering, do we have to have all of that greenery? I know we have to have some.
No, the landscaping installed was paid for by the city. They're not state maintained. The state doesn't recognize it being there, so they don't maintain it. They don't care to have it. If we were to ask to put brick in, it would require DOT to permit it. They may or may not allow it.
Okay.
So
it's FDOT's decision whether or not we could have.
it's their right of way. Yeah. This is their roadway. We simply, if you recall back when the road was worked on in 2007, 2008, the CRA funded $1.6 million worth of landscape improvements. Mm-hmm. The advocation of all the landscape areas, bigger sidewalks, they would not be there if the CRA didn't pay for it. Would be currently bike lanes. Mm-hmm. So if the CRA direction is to look at something different, we certainly can. We'd have to permit it, get their permission, amend our agreements with them to do a brick.
Well, landscaping is like spinning plates. It's constant. It never goes away. And it's pretty in a lot of areas, but it just is not thriving. It just doesn't seem, not unless we pay $85,000 a year for somebody to do something to it.
Keep in mind, the $85,000 is spread amongst a lot of places on that. If you saw our list,
Don't get me wrong.
and it's not all city. It's not all CRA funds. A lot of that is city funds for administrative buildings. It's just housed in the same contract.
Okay.
But I mean, certainly any landscaping does take maintenance. I mean, it is a maintainable asset that will have recurring cost. We can look at a change to that.
Well, I don't know how the rest of the members feel about it or not. I mean, it just seems like we're constantly fighting, trying to get the dead something out of the ground and put something else green there, and then, you see everybody trash it, because they want to see the parade, they want to see whatever's happening. The street parties are the same way. The people are all over the plants.
No.
So,
No, we have replaced some areas, like in floodplain Linda went to sod. Other places that the plants just were never going to live, they have gone to sod. We've made that replacement. We haven't looked at putting pavers in. We've done things that we replace utilizing maintenance funds. So we would just, if it's something we want to look at, really, we can look at for Tim. It would be, I think, a challenge to go to a brick. I don't know what DOT would say. They'd basically pass it off to the city.
a brick would be pervious, so the water would go down and into the.
To a degree, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Just a thought. Thank you.
Member Nelson?
I think I agree with you. What I'm noticing is those plants along US 1, it's almost like all the trash from the parade is collecting under it. And so unless we have somebody going down and getting trash out all the time and taking care of it, and what we noticed the other night was the trees really needed to be trimmed. And the other thing was it sort of blocks people's view of the buildings. And the same way, if you're sitting inside a building, you can't really see out as well. So that may be something worth exploring. Just a thought.
There you go.
This is my thought, Kevin.
Member Leedy?
Is the amount the same in the option years?
Yeah, the contract freezes for the full period.
Okay, that's
The
one.
luxury of the last 4 years has been that we have sustained the same cost of all our maintenance without an increase. And it did increase in the rebid, but that's expected when they go 4 years without an increase.
I'm a little bit uneasy with this contract because it wasn't just Ms. Schuler who's appeared before us. It goes back months and months ago, and it was before any hurricanes. And there's people that have spoken to me about how they did not, the landscaping wasn't the best job that could be done downtown, or in this area. So here we are again with the same guy, and I don't know if this is something you need to have done tonight, but I would like to see the contractor come before us and let us ask him some questions. Because I've got eyes too, and I hear members up here tonight, you know, sharing their concerns, and I know that, as I said, Ms. Schuler and a couple other people, you know, have come forward and saying that it's just not the best job they're doing, and so never mind. That's my comments. I don't know if we can. I mean, is this something that has to be done today or tonight or?
Their contract is expired, so we are extending their current contract to keep going.
I mean,
So it doesn't have to be done today. We'll just be incurring the cost of the continuing extension, assuming they agree to it. I don't know the appropriateness of a contract. It is a low bid, so it was low bid wins.
I understand.
And we do have a foreman that's responsible for them. I can tell you that, like I say, manager can attest, knowing the foreman, he's on top of them every day over a punch list of sorts when it comes up.
Yeah, but once we sign a contract, we're locked in for 4 years, and
No, sir, we're not. We
well, you have the right of.
terminations
I see you
convenience.
you have the right of you have an option to.
But we have extensions available. It's a 1-year contract with extensions. We also
Right.
always have the right to convenient termination.
Right.
Or cause termination.
Yes,
which,
I understand that.
For those of you that were on council for a few years, we have terminated our landscape contractors in the past. They were on the city side of improvements, not on the CRA. But
Weren't we supposed to hire somebody also?
we're hiring a part-time maintenance worker, but they would not be able to do. When the city did this service, it was 5 employees assigned to it, full-time, for US 1. The 2 full days were spent in the CRA, and that was without improvements to Julia Street parking and without Pritchard House. If we had those in, they also tied up our facilities group, so we cannot, one person won't be able to do this service.
No, I'm not suggesting that.
Okay.
I'm just wondering when that person's coming on board.
We were talking about that earlier. We do have one of our former street employees who seems willing to do it. We have to work out a contract with them to do it on a part-time basis. But
Okay. All right, thanks.
Member Diesel?
Just a couple things. You said earlier that the dead trees, et cetera, that wouldn't have anything to do with this contract, right? Or do they take care of the dead trees?
No, we handle any tree removals.
Okay, that's
And
what was
then
going to
we
be my
would
next.
replant
Okay,
them too.
so they don't do that. We take care of the trees.
Yep.
Okay, because and I realize, and I think, and I agree, there certainly could be some improvements. I think there might be some good ideas going to all the street parties I go to, and then certainly just going through the parade. There is a lot of trampling going on, so just a common sense approach might be wise there. What is your thought about the contractor that we have now? How do you feel about them? Do you have some concerns, or you think that they're doing everything they need to do? What do you think?
Well, no, relying on my foreman who oversees them, he rides them hard, to be honest with you, but they do what's asked of them. Now, keeping in mind that when your contract is to mow a street 1 time a week for the summer, and that makes it, you're not going to get everything every time through. We did when we did it. We have yet to have a contractor come through and make it pristine. We don't have dedicated staff for that. But he has fulfilled every obligation we've asked of them. Now, again, I have to rely on my staff that oversees beautification that used to do this job themselves. They used to be part of the mowing crews that handled this. I will tell you, he has a keen eye for the downtown. He's the one that's responsible for it. So yes, he walked this contractor through at pre-bid, and he concurred with the award of the contract.
And you are in a low bid, so there's
Yes, sir.
that
This
kind
isn't a
of
subjective.
ties your
it was
hands.
Low bid.
Dealing with some of the similar situations in landscaping with what I do with with the high school. The word that always bothers me is we got to ride them hard. I really would rather, and again, low bid, I get that. But I know with the people that I work with who are contractors, I really like it when I don't have to ride them hard and they're really there to do a good job. And I don't know if we got an out to relook at it. So, all right.
If it's the board's direction, we want to rebid it, then I imagine all the bids can be rejected. To defer to Mr. Broom on that one.
If I could continue off of that, that's really why I was asking the question, what do you think?
Well,
I always like to go to the guy who's closest to them and who sees them more often, who has hands-on, and I'm trying to get a feel for what you think. And the word that sticks in my mind is we ride them hard. Are we really excited about their initiative?
Well, the foreman that oversees this used to do this job, and he put most of it in. So there's a certain degree of civic pride on his part. So he wants it done the way he sees it to be done. I will tell you that this company's owner regularly cuts City Hall himself, regularly invests his own personal commitment, Jim Burke, in doing work here in the downtown. Having been through, I think, 3 iterations of this contract, previous 2 were terminated for cause, safety issues, parking trucks wrong way in the road. We don't have those issues with this contractor. When it comes up that there's edging needs to be done, they need to pick up litter. That's what comes up. I'll be honest with you, there's the same problems we had with our crews when we did it. There are certain things when you're trying to cut it very fast and get done, it's rough. We commit a lot more labor when we did it with the city. We also spent $400,000 a year on it. So there's a vast expense to putting commitment of city crews out there when we did it. So I can't tell you that if we rebid it, he wouldn't be the low bidder again, because this is the 4th bid I've seen for us having landscape services, including planting downtown, which they did. And they've won them all. So.
Well, I can hear a lot of discontent, so I think we should do some discussion with the contractor and see if things can't be improved. There are issues, but I don't think it's a good idea of bringing them in. That's for staff to do and to see how to improve that situation. Are we prepared to go through with this tonight, or would council prefer putting it off?
If we put it off, what does that do for us? Will we get another report? What will we get out of putting it off?
I can't tell you
I
definitively,
don't know.
certainly, but hopefully, if a discussion is done and with the contractor, present contractor, and that he will attempt to approve what he's doing. I have the feeling he would do it whether he has a contract or not at this point, because he wants to continue with it. So I don't mind going either way, though, as far as whether we do the contract or not tonight or not. But I think it's just going to come back again, and I think the contractor would take it seriously. I know he wanted this contract very badly when he got it the first time, and maybe he just needs a little talk as to what's not being done correctly, and maybe he will improve it. If he doesn't, we still could, I guess, get out of the contract for cause, right?
We always have termination for convenience or cause, yes.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter whether we pass it or not tonight, but I'd prefer to do it that way and let staff take a look at it, and so let's see how. I'm sure we'll get reports back as things are going on down there. So, but somebody has to make a motion at this point, unless there's any other discussion or cards. Any more cards? That was it. No cards. Okay. What's your pleasure?
Well, I sort of feel like we ought to go ahead with the contract tonight, and I would hope that Mr. Cook would explain to him that council's not totally happy here, and the citizens aren't happy.
The citizens aren't.
The citizens aren't happy, and hopefully with that extra half person, the downtown will look a lot better. That being said, I think we ought to look at maybe brick downtown instead of those plants, which are taking a lot of care and are getting trampled and getting trash in them. And
well, they would have to come back with the what it would take and the money and so forth on that contract, but that's okay. If you decide that, then by all means, come back. What's your pleasure?
You've got 2 more lights.
sorry.
So
I thought we had everybody.
thought I should wait.
Oops. Member Leedy.
I don't mind, authorizing the contract tonight. It's kind of what you were just, in the vein you were talking about, but I know this contractor also, and they do good work, and I've seen their work, but maybe it's something that we authorize the contract, invite them to the CRA. I'd like to have his input on, it seems like, to me, Member Nelson and Member Anderson have raised kind of ground cover questions, and maybe he's in the business. Let's talk to him. I mean, so I'm okay with going forward, but
Member Anderson?
Yeah, I don't have any problem going ahead and approving the contract, but I do want to see, I would like for us to pursue looking at maybe eliminating some of the areas that are constantly having issues. The ground cover is a big one, and maybe not always replacing every tree that falls or dies or anything. I kind of suspect that just the US 1 corridor is a tough place for that vegetation to survive, and then you throw people on top of it, and it's just not going to work. So I think we need to look a little harder at it, but for the moment, we need to go ahead and approve this contract and then maybe take a look at redoing some of that.
Member Stokel?
Thank you. I just want to say I kind of wanted to defer to you, Kevin, just because I look at these 2 bids that we have, and I feel like it's just a matter of chance at this point. Like, if we were to rebid and get somebody else, it could be somebody that's better, it could be somebody that's worse. And we don't really have that relationship, I guess, with the people. So I kind of would want to defer to whatever your inclination would be with what you can say, I guess. I want to make your job easier, where our citizens are happy, where you have a good working relationship, where we can make improvements as needed. Yeah. And if it is, I don't know if we have to go with the lowest bid as well, if that's mandatory.
Low bid is the method of award, yes.
Which kind of stinks if you could get a much higher service for a little bit of increase, I know, so.
Well, part of that is, when you talk about higher service, would be a different specification. If you were to bid out a more robust contract,
right.
We have specifics that mirror our medians, that mirror our facilities. If the desire is to go to a more robust contract with more cutting cycles, more attention, conversely more cost, then that certainly doable. That's doable with the current award too. Contractor could be asked to enhance service if that's what's desired. If it's desired to have 52 weeks of cutting, keep in mind the winter we go to every other week. We do it citywide. So if there's enhancements of that nature, if you want them on hand more to do things, that certainly you mentioned trimming trees. We trim trees twice a year. All our facilities are the same. If there's enhancements of that nature, that certainly can be costed into a contract. But yes, the method of award is low bid wins.
Okay.
They are local. They also get local preference on reduction of their cost in comparison. But
okay, perfect. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Can I ask one more question?
Sure. Member Nelson?
Kevin, so if we want to add things, we could sign this contract if there were things that maybe should be added, additional services, tree trimming, whatever it is, we could add that, correct?
yes, ma'am. If there's a desire, for instance, the Pritchard House was added as a change order in our last contract. The Julie Street parking lot was added. As things have been improved or taken over for maintenance, we've added to the contract. They cost it out. They bring it to us as a change order, bring it back to the boards and the council for approval if it's above $15,000. So if there's enhancements to the contract that you're desiring, for instance, in the contract, we ask for them to offer mulch to us. We typically don't exercise that. We usually do it ourselves, but they have it in there. We can ask for an enhancement if that's what's desired. Additional tree trimming, them plant plants instead of us. Those things can always be costed into the contract as a change order agreeable by the city and the contractor. We just have to know what desired effect is. It would probably be isolated to specifically US 1 corridor. As you know, the contract is for Four Corners Park, City Hall, Fire Headquarters. Right. I don't believe those have enhancements that you'd be asking for. I believe the discussion is the US 1 corridor. Okay. So certainly, if my staff can go out and take a look at everything, if we think there's some holes that we can fill in contractually or with our guys, we'll take a look at that. We can report back on a need for it.
Okay.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is that there is a desire to improve the situation, and if you go and talk to the contractor and can do something without a big additional charge, or if you think there should be things that done which will possibly cost a little more, then if you will come back with those recommendations, we can work on it. Okay, do I have a motion from anyone?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Second.
Motion to approve.
Okay, you kind of have to go through the stipulations.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. We kind
Hold
of
on. We're
changed
getting,
that a while back on the council.
okay. Like to approve the award of contract, the CRA landscape and state roadway right-of-way maintenance with JB Lawn Control, Inc. for $85,424.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Next item is item C. Mr. Executive Director.
During the FY17 strategic planning cycle, citizens identified the need for a civic center as their top strategic priority. City Council reaffirmed this objective and directed staff to explore the feasibility of constructing a civic center in its FY17 strategic guidance to staff. In accordance with this mandate, Bellamo Herbert, the city's continued services consultant architect, was requested by staff to provide a work order proposal to prepare a feasibility study for the development of a conceptual design addressing the following aspects of the project: 2 site locations, environmental review of the sites, project cost estimates, and a floor plan. After presentation of options to the CRA and City Council, direction was given to explore additional location, which is included in this work order. As recommended, CRA recommend to City Council to approve a budget amendment and award the change order number 1, work order BHPW012, in the amount of $6,252.65 to Melbo Herbert, a GAI company, to prepare a feasibility study for the development of a civic center conceptual design at Sandpoint Park, expanding the study area to the existing city-owned Upland building, and authorize the city manager to execute the work order.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Mr. Larice, do we know where they are on the arena?
We don't.
Okay.
The last update that we were given is that a private company was going to do an analysis, a feasibility study, to see if it was beneficial for a private company to work on that project.
It's sort of in limbo then.
I don't know if it's in limbo or not, ma'am. I just don't know what the status of that particular feasibility study is.
Okay.
But that's a very good point, and I don't think it would be prudent to put too much more money until we find out what's going there. But some of this has already been paid for.
Yes, sir. What you're looking at in this is a change order. The CRA board recommended that we take a look at an alternate location of the Upland building, and we went back to the contractor, and this change order is $6,000.
Mm-hmm. Does council want to proceed with that at this point, or?
I'm
sorry, I couldn't hear.
Well, I just pushed the button, but I was going to say that I feel like we did the feasibility study. I feel like I saw the 2 options. I feel like until further notice, I've got all the feasibility I need. I don't think we need to spend $6,000 more to go forward. maybe we would later, maybe as things come into place or don't come into place with the possible indoor arena that's been discussed. But at this point, I'm not ready to spend another $6,252 for more feasibility.
Okay. Member Stokel, you were...
Yeah. No, I just wanted to echo what Member Diesel had said, and a question for clarification. With those two options they gave us, for us to provide feedback, modifications, that's all free, correct?
It's not free, it's part of the
Well, I mean,
contract.
but like, not an additional cost.
Yes,
that we
ma'am.
would have to-
And I believe that the contractor really was not given appropriate guidance from the CRA board of which option you wanted us to further explore. So should you choose not to do this third option,
Right.
I think we'll probably have to invite him back and get more guidance from you as to which option you would like to pursue and what you would like the modifications to be done to those options and to complete the project.
But there's no additional cost for that, for him to come back and us to
Correct.
kind
He's
of
not,
explore.
he's not complete on those two yet.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I just want to echo what Member Diesel said. I think we have enough information, and further discussion wouldn't include an additional cost. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Member Nelson?
I'd like to see us put this off for about 6 months, and let's see where we are in 6 months.
Well, I don't know if we have to put a time on it because we don't know whether that could come.
We could table it until we have further information.
Yes. I don't think I put a specific time on it because it could happen in 3 months or it could happen in 2 months or it could happen in 6 months.
Well, the only thing is, I was thinking is that way it wouldn't fall off
No,
the table into some void.
Yes, ma'am. I think what we would really need from the CRA board and council is that he is contracted to provide the services that are currently listed. We'd like to finish those.
right.
Okay.
And then if you choose to look at a third option after we finish that, then we can certainly bring it back to the contractor as an additional change order.
So basically, we need a motion to approve the present contract and finish that.
Yes, sir, we don't need a motion for that.
Okay.
We just need you to tell us what you would like to do with this change order that you requested.
What I'm hearing is nothing at this point. Not do anything with it. So we don't need a motion for anything then.
You'll need to turn it down. Yes, sir.
To turn it down negative, Mark? Okay.
It is a recommendation to the council, so we'll need to know that the CRA is not recommending approval.
Okay.
So the council action can be reflective of that.
So at this point, we need a motion to disapprove.
Wait 1 second. I have one more light.
Oh, excuse me.
Member Leedy?
I was just going to make a motion.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Make a motion to disapprove this change order.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, like sign. Passes unanimously. You have direction. Petitions and requests from the public present. Is there anybody that would like to speak this evening? Please come up, sir.
Good evening. Tom Altiff, 410 South Hopkins, Titusville, Florida.
Good evening, sir.
I want to congratulate the CRA on the fine job, both the present board and previous boards, and the city staff, Ms. Wisaka and Mr. Ford. And I think that with the on the landscaping, it's hit or miss on that. But other than that, I think it's a great job has been done. I also believe that it's now time for the property owners to step up and do their part. And rarely do I get to just walk around downtown. And I took a day, because I'm from my store, just to walk around and see how many buildings were vacant. And I was shocked. In order to be a vibrant, successful downtown, we need retail businesses. And I think it's time for the property owners to step up and do their part to ensure, by giving incentives, that we have retail business downtown. We can continue to do infrastructure from now forever, and it's not going to change. 5 years, it's been 6 years since we built our building. We do not have a net gain of any businesses in that entire time. So what I'm proposing is that under the sponsorship of the CRA, we have a meeting with the property owners owning property within the CRA district, and we discuss what is their concept of the future for their properties. Are they going to just sit there and wait until someone comes along and offers the price that they think they should get for their property? Or will they step up and provide some incentives, such as if you have a property that's been vacant for 2 years, you might want to consider giving a year of free rent if the person coming in to lease the property will spend funds on improving the property. It's a win-win. It's a win-win for everybody. It's a win for the retailer coming in that is uncertain, and it's a win for the property owner because if that person doesn't continue after a year, he has an improved property. I've done it with 2 of my properties, actually 3 of them. One of them I have a person in there that is not paying any rent at all, but I felt his business.
You got another 30 seconds.
I felt his business would bring more foot traffic to downtown. If may I have more time?
Yeah, go
Okay.
go on.
On 2 other properties, one in the CRA district, the other
Let me ask you, how much more time do you need?
about 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Can you cut that down some?
I'll cut it down to 3.
All right, that's good. Do we?
And that leaves
have
my slideshow out, too. So.
Sir?
I have a slideshow, but I can do that another time.
Do I have a motion?
We have a motion to.
Second? All those in favor?
Yep. Yes.
You got the 3 minutes.
I think it is appropriate for the CRA staff to bring the property owners together and find out just what their thoughts are. Are they happy with just sitting there and letting their buildings remain vacant? Or are they willing to go out and recruit new businesses? I'm willing to join Mr. Ford and travel to New Smyrna, where they just raised the lease rates, and see if we can entice some of the businesses there to move to Titusville or Cocoa Village or anywhere else, and speak before, because we have a lot to offer here. And we have a great downtown, but it's vacant. So I'm proposing that. I do believe the property owners have not done everything they can to improve downtown. And CRA has helped them in previous years, but those days are over, and now it's up to the property owners. Any questions?
I'd just like to make a statement. I agree with most of what you're saying. However, I would ask you one thing, that before we have a workshop on it, go for a meeting with the downtown merchants and talk it out amongst yourselves first. Because my experience is, unless you have enough people from the downtown, as you're talking about, that are willing to do something, the next part would be futile.
I believe we would have a better turnout at a meeting if we do if the CRA sponsors it. If I try to call a meeting, it's not the same. We have buildings that need to be demolished downtown.
Yes.
And I don't know if CRA funds can be spent for that. We have one right outside City Hall here.
I don't think you get my point. I want to make sure that the people down there really want to do something, because if all they're going to come in and do is say, well, why doesn't the CRA do this? Why doesn't the CRA do that? Why doesn't the CRA do that? Then it's not going to be a fruitful meeting, because we're already doing things and we've already said what you've said. And I agree with what you've said. We have to have cooperation from the downtown merchants. So There is an organization, and there are officers, and I suggest you talk to those officers and see if you can't have a meeting there first and see what the lay of the land is.
I just attended the last Downtown Merchants Association meeting. At that meeting, there were 2 property owners, and everybody else were under leases. No, I really think that the CRA should be involved in this. I mean, this is where we need to be going. We need to find out what these property owners are going to do. There's other things that can be done, which I'm opposed to, and eminent domain. I'm totally against that. But there are things that can be done. We have the gas station on Garden Street, where it has had leaking tanks for 30 years. 30 years. And someone coming down Garden Street and looking at that vacant service station.
Which one are you referring to?
405 Garden Street, right across from my building.
Okay.
Okay? 30 years, and it hasn't been cleaned up. I know it takes a while for the state to get to the brownfields, but they could at least take the building down and plant grass. That's what's holding us back. All you have to do is drive through town, and you can see where the improvements can be made. And if the CRA is allowed to dispense CRA funds for demolishing a building and having it hauled away, then that's what should be done.
Actually, I don't know whether CRA is or isn't. Maybe we could talk to the city attorney here. Is that something that CRA could do, demolish buildings?
We can purchase property. There's a process, of course, of demolishing buildings. That is a resolution necessity process to go through with council. But if the CRA is interested in looking at those options, we can certainly look at options in the downtown. Mentioning a workshop I agree with the property owners. We can listen. I don't know if the CRAs, we can't impose requirements on them with their rents or those types of things. We can make them aware of the grant programs you have and those incentives we are able to offer. But when it comes to demolishing buildings, that is a lengthy process that would involve council.
Even if the property owner considers it consents to it, would that change that process?
No, we just have a process, because if we want to lien to recover our monies on that, it requires a process. Yes, sir. But if the CRA is interested in exploring specific properties and the options available and give us that direction, we can certainly bring you back options.
Well, you've heard my feelings. Let's hear from other council people. Member Leedy.
I like what I'm hearing. And I'm a member of the CRA, and I'd be glad to meet with them anytime they want. I don't see anything wrong with having a workshop and having the owners come in here. We don't even have to be up here. Just discuss what they're going to do, what they want to do. There's nothing wrong with talking at all. And some of them may not be aware of the grant programs. But if we do that, I think you're right. I think that through the executive director's office to set that up, find the owners and get an invitation and do a Saturday or something like that, I'd love to do that. Because we've tried a lot of things except talk to the owners.
Absolutely. That's the only thing we haven't done is bring all the owners together.
Right. So I'm in favor of it.
Thank you.
Member Anderson?
Tom, I think it's an excellent idea. I agree with Member Leedy. I don't see anything but positive results coming out of it. The hardest part's going to be getting them in here, and that will be how that goes.
Yeah.
But anytime we can, get information from the people that we serve up here, I think it's always a benefit. And I would love for that to happen, so I will support that 100%. Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Nelson?
I would agree with my partners out here that talking is good, and if Tom can get all the owners in here, I'm in favor of it. So that may be the sticking point,
Well,
is dragging the owners in.
I think there would be more impact if the CRA
So
asked
you're
the
saying
owners to
something
come in.
different than you're saying.
I'm saying the CRA turns around and has a meeting with the owners, workshop, if we want to
But
call
I
it a workshop.
agree with what you said at first, and that's exactly what I was saying, is if they're not coming, there's no sense in having the meeting. So we should at least have an idea that a certain percentage of it, and I'm not going to tell you a specific percentage, but are willing to come. And I don't know, we can put a thing out there, but we can't force them to come.
Well, I realize that, but
I would think their peers would be able to put more pressure on them to actually show up.
Talk
So
fast.
you don't want to do that? Okay. All right. What's
that's
council's-
not. I'll be glad to be present at the meeting and to do whatever I can to encourage them.
I would like to
Okay.
see us try it. Yeah. And, you know, hopefully they'll come.
If they come, that'd be great.
That'd
If
be
they're not
great.
coming, it's
Then we
kind
try.
of futile. Okay.
Thank you.
Member Anderson? Okay. Member Leedy, you've already spoken?
I don't know if we need anything but direction to the executive director.
Well, what I might suggest to the board is that our next regularly scheduled meeting in January be a workshop. And we'll put out invites to every owner that we can find.
Sounds like a plan. That's,
Can I, now my enthusiasm just went down. I don't think an hour's going to do it. I think a Saturday workshop for coffee and something like that is what we need to do. We're not sitting up here, we're down there talking with and seeing what people think.
Yeah,
That's
so
the way I see this
Our
going.
workshop format, you will be on the floor, sir.
But maybe not at a regular scheduled. I think we need more time, a couple hours talking with these folks, if they come.
Well, let's try it. If we need more time,
Then
then
we'll
we
schedule
schedule
it?
something different.
Okay, all right.
Perhaps we could schedule a 2-hour meeting, start at 4:30.
Yeah, all right. So you guys will do that? Then is that, do you need? Do we
we've
need?
given him those directions, yes.
Okay.
Unless anybody has anything else to say. Okay, that's fine. Any other members? Ma'am?
My name is Gretchen McMichael, McSweets Downtown, 330 South Washington. Besides being a business owner, I'm the president of Downtown Merchants Association. Tom was up here not only presenting his views, but they are the views of the Downtown Merchants Association. We are attempting to break the cycle of do the same thing, get a different result. It isn't working. We have more challenges of funding, and we have fewer people coming downtown. And this, we have to attack it from a two-pronged, possibly a three-pronged attack. One is we have to get boots on the ground downtown. The other thing is we have to give them something to come to. That's why we need the owners involved in this. We need you to incentivize, if you want to call it that, the owners. We also I need to know what kind of ordinances are available, what kind of infrastructure is there within this town where we can say this building must be improved. This building is not acceptable as the face of downtown and the face of Titusville. I do not know what tools we have available, and I would love to know what that is. If there is someone here who could school me, I would love to know. As I understand it, we had a situation where we had a building that had Awnings hanging off of it, brown paper. No offense, Jolene. It's lovely now.
I have gold paper.
I know,
Red and gold.
it's lovely. It's so much improved with the brown paper hanging off.
And Christmas
There was-
decorations.
And and at that time, it took us a long time to find out that we could do nothing about that because there is no ordinances to how things should look or how things should be. So what is our option? If we do not have that ability to go to a business or a business owner or a building owner and say, you're not keeping up with the ordinances. If we don't have any ordinances, we have nothing. We have no leverage. We have nothing that can force an improvement. So I, as president of DTMA, I'm kind of looking to you to tell me what our options are.
Ma'am, I would suggest that you get together with city staff and they can give you that information. We
That
couldn't
would be
from
wonderful.
here.
City
I think all you
staff
have
would
to-
be wonderful. I would love
They'll
that.
set up that meeting and
I would love that.
They can tell you what the options are.
And also, I would like to invite any of you down to the DTMA meetings. We have, if you notice, there's a few more faces here. One of the things we're trying to do is make sure that you know we're here and that you know that we are concerned. And any direction you can give us to improve what's going on, we would appreciate, and we would also appreciate the ear that you lend us in listening to our problems and possible solutions. We're looking to Tom for help for that. He's been a whirlwind already. So if there's anything we can help you with, please call on us, and we will now feel free to do the same.
Okay.
Are there any questions?
Are there any questions?
Comment? I would be more than, I don't know about the rest of them, but either from the staff or I can see you after the meeting, that I'll be glad to give you my email to
Okay.
let me know when your meetings are, and I'd be glad to come down and listen and see what you have to.
Wonderful. We would really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. And Debbie, do you have anything to say? Okay.
And ma'am, understand because of sunshine laws, we couldn't come in part. It would have to be, a public meeting and so forth. A whole different
Everything
thing.
is public
So
that
we
we
have one, I'm sorry?
Everything is public that we do.
Wow. Member Leedy is going, and I'm sure he'll report back to us.
Not a problem.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all very much.
All right. Executive directors, do we have any other petitions and requests? I see none. Executive director's report?
Yes, sir, and board, my report is written, and on behalf of staff, we'd like to wish the CRA board a welcome break. This is our last meeting for the year, and enjoy your Christmas holiday.
All right, thank you very much.
Subject to
Same
your
you,
questions,
sir,
or
and we'll-
please my report.
We'll see you at the next meeting. Do you need a motion to accept, or no? Okay. With that, I'll declare a 10-minute break. We'll reconvene at 20 of. With that, I'll close the meeting.